Welcome back to the TWSN Tailgate Show. As always, I am your host, Matt Levine. This is my co-host, Joshua Northcutt. How you doing today, Josh?
Doing well, man. College football is finally here. We got about 4 or 5 days straight of great games, loaded slates, game going on right now. Can't beat it.
Yeah, no, 100%. And you know it's crazy, right? I'm in Southern California. It's usually sunshine and all that, right? Like I love it, but in the Midwest, on the East Coast, it's cloudy. It's getting to be fall weather. College football is here, but why is it cloudy? Right? It's cloudy in Southern California right now. What's going on? Like, I love it. This is the perfect time for college football. And we are here to break down everything from this loaded week one slate of games. We are so excited to be here. Please like and subscribe this video. We are trying to bring the best content we possibly can, and we do this for everyone. We do this for the fans. This is what we want. This is what we do. So here at TWSN, here on the show. So make sure to just like the video, subscribe, send to your friends, pay attention. We're going to get into this a little bit, but we want to get started with just a little recap of what happened last week, because this technically isn't the first week of college football. We technically had some games last week, and there were some pretty good ones, honestly. We got our tailgate takeaways from week 0. Now I'm going to give the floor to Josh here because I want to see what he's talking about, what he saw in those few games. Josh, what were your biggest takeaways from week 0?
So all eyes for me were on the Big 12. Obviously, Farmageddon is the one that stole the show. What a great game that was. Back and forth kind of matchup. And we are not a gambling show, so don't think that. But it hurt a little bit because I don't know if you saw the worst bad beat in the history of week 0, but I had the over. And they get stopped on the 1 yard line and need the game out. So that set me off a little bit. But hey, you know what? It's not gambling unless something like that were to happen. But back to the game, it looked absolutely phenomenal with what Rocco Beck kind of rebounded after a slow start, turning the ball over on the goal line. And Iowa State just looks like that contender that I thought they were going to be. They used their experience. And I kind of feel bad for Kansas State. They had a game plan that Dylan Edwards was going to be their number 2 guy. He wasn't there. Avery Johnson balled out. That dude is going to be getting some money from a bigger program, whether it's the Big Ten or the SEC. He fits very well in that Kansas State offense. He just needs to keep his family under control. And then the other headline for me was Jalen Daniels bounce back, the guy we all thought he would be at Kansas. He was phenomenal. 3 touchdowns in the air. I want to say it was about 70, 80 yards on the ground. Really, really good stuff from him. And something that made me think that I'm going to move Kansas up the power rankings at the end of this week once we see everything. And they are serious contenders now in the Big 12, in my opinion.
That's an interesting 1 week and Kansas. I mean, Jayhawk fans rejoice, right? Like, just rejoice. Like, I love it. I love when Kansas is good in football. It just makes the sport fun. I'm going to go with you. Just kind of piggyback off you a little bit with Iowa State. They impressed me, as we talked about last week. I wasn't the highest on them. I knew they were going to be good, but I thought Kansas State was going to come out and win that game. Kansas State let me down. I thought that they fell short of meeting the moment. They just in the biggest crucial moments they didn't execute, and for a team like that to not execute, it's very disappointing. But you have to give the Cyclones credit. Well, I mean, they might be for real, and I'm going to give you credit. You called it last week. You said you were really high on them. I obviously wasn't, but they converted 3 of the 4 fourth down attempts. That is just execution to the point right there. And when in such a tight college football season, the little things are going to add up, right? And I think Iowa State showed that they can execute in the big moments. And it's not, and they did it against a very good Kansas State team. So I'm kind of with you. I'm going to move Iowa State up a little. They impressed me. And I'm kind of excited to see where things go with them for the rest of the year. But the team that I want to talk about here is the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. This team might have had the most exciting game ending of the last week, like nobody was talking about Hawaii, right? Like their quarterback is hobbled. Their kicker didn't know how to kick. He learned from YouTube videos and he kicks the game-winning kick to win the game against Stanford. Like, I know Stanford's not the powerhouse program that it used to be, but let's give Hawaii some credit here. The Rainbow Warriors are alive and well, and quite honestly, they're going to beat Arizona this weekend. I'm calling it right now. If they are going to beat the Wildcats this weekend on the road, next week, if they do not, you can clown me. I don't care. Hawaii, let's go. They are my like Cinderella team right now. I'm all in on this team. I love the grit. I love the focus. I love it. I love everything about this team. Am I crazy? Am I crazy for this?
I don't. And you talk about like how college football is better when a team like Kansas is good. No, college football is better when Hawaii matters, because then we get that late night game.
Yep.
And as a guy who works Saturday nights, Hawaii football mattering and being fun to watch is awesome, because then I got entertainment till 2-3 o'clock in the morning while I'm sitting there doing my job. So I don't think so at all. And it was kind of funny because I won't lie, I slept on Hawaii. They haven't mattered since
we all did.
Cole Brennan. May he rest in peace. But when Bill Sparks, who writes for TWSN, wrote an article on Hawaii and kind of opened my eyes to that team, it was eye-opening. It was really one of those teams that was like, okay, this could be fun again. Hawaii football matters, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Oh, yeah. No, I love it. I'm all in, as you can tell. So we're going to come back next week. We're going to see if my upset over Arizona is accurate here. And if it is, I may have to get myself a Hawaii shirt. I don't know. I might have to do it. Well, we're going to have to see. But we're going to go into something that we want to do most weeks, where Josh is going to highlight a rivalry game that is happening throughout the week. It may not be in the mainstream, right? Like for fans who may not know as much about college football, like we want to help everybody gain knowledge of college football too, right? It's not just talking about the Ohio States and the Texases, and we want to talk about everything, right? Like that's what makes college football great. It's those smaller schools that just come out of nowhere, do awesome things, just make football fun. So, floor is yours, Josh. Tell us what rivalry you are spotlighting this week.
Already dropped the article on TWSN.net if you want to go check it out. The game kicks off at 7 p.m. on the ACC network, and it is North Carolina State ECU. They don't really have a cool name. It's just ECU or ECU North Carolina State rivalry. They do play for the Victory Barrel, which was created in 2007. Cool story. The student body is kind of who came up with the idea of, hey, we need this to happen. NC State leads the rivalry. However, they stopped playing in 1988 every year. So from 1970 to 1987, they played every single year. And NC State dominated early on. However, since then, and Jimmy V, ironically enough, said, we're not playing Eastern Carolina anymore because they stomped on their field and they destroyed a lot of stuff on campus. ECU is actually leading the series 8-7 after winning the Military Bowl last year. And if you have not seen the video of the Military Bowl and the finale of that situation, I highly recommend looking it up. It is linked in my article. That rivalry had some fire last year to the point the ref was bleeding. Now, we don't want to see fights in college football. We don't. That's not what college football is about.
Maybe a little. Maybe some pushing. Maybe not a full on brawl, but just some pushing.
Yeah, a little physicality isn't the wrong thing, especially when you're talking a rivalry that is in the ACC Tobacco Road that everybody talks about. Duke, North Carolina State, and just like Wake, and just the ACC powerhouses. A lot of teams forget about ECU, but in the early 90s, they were pretty darn good with a guy named Jeff Blake, who is a special memory of my childhood, just being a quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. And ironically enough, after they stopped playing in 87, in 1992, they met in the Peach Bowl, and ECU won that, and arguably the biggest victory of their history, where Jeff Blake went absolutely off. So it's just one to keep an eye on tonight as you're waiting for maybe another game to start. I know a lot of eyes are probably going to be on UC Nebraska to see if Nebraska is for real and can live up to the hype. But this is not a bad one to tune in, and one I definitely will be tuning into.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely fun, and we appreciate you spotlighting this game for us and everyone. It's a under the radar game that people should be paying attention to, quite frankly. But we're gonna move on to something fun that we're actually gonna be doing throughout the entire season. We had put out something on social media about this a few days ago. We'll put the link out again. Um, it's the TWSN Pick Six Pick'em through ESPN, where we're gonna pick games throughout the season, and we're going to have interaction with fans. We want people to join. We want people to come pick games against us, see where we're wrong, right? Call us out. So, Josh, I want to let you explain a little more about everything to everybody.
Yeah, so the ESPN version one will be definitely all Saturday night slate games, I believe, with a few on Sunday this week. So you don't have to worry about rushing in to try to get the Friday game or even tonight. So if you want to join us, we'll make sure to post a link on TWSN. But it'll just be 10 games, and all you got to do is pick the winner. Plain and simple. Show us where we're wrong, you're right, and then come back on Wednesday and talk about how stupid we were with some of our picks.
Yeah, and we're going to do that to each other. Might as well do it to us too in this. Might as well. We all want to be accountable for our dumb picks, right? We all have hot takes. We all do this. So let's hold each other accountable. Let's see who's the best at picking college football games throughout the season, right? That there's a lot of good games going on this year. There's a lot of great teams playing. So let's all have some fun together. And who knows? There's probably going to be a prize at the end of it. We don't know what yet, but there's going to be some type prize. People love prizes. Join, maybe you'll win and find out what it is. Who knows? But we're going to actually start getting into some of these games because, as I mentioned at the start of the show, we have a loaded first week here. Like, absolutely loaded. Like, I cannot remember a slate of games that is this loaded in a long time, especially to open the season. So we're going to start. I know everyone wants to start with Ohio State and Texas. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But there's a game that's near and dear to me, and that's Auburn and Baylor. And that's because I put both of these teams into my college football bracket. If anyone watched the show last week, I talked about it. I put articles out about them, so go read them at TWSN.net. I am high on both of these teams entering this game, right? So this game is kind of weird for me because I put both into the bracket. I'm going to have you start here, Josh. What do you think? What's your prediction for this game? How is this game going to play out, essentially?
Well, as I mentioned last week, I don't know what my apologies, what it is about Baylor. I just don't always buy them. So you're going to have to try to persuade me to maybe flip this around.
But I'm not going to persuade you. I'm not going. I can tell you they're going to be good. Baylor is going to do it on the field. I can tell you that right now.
Okay, well, like I'm in on Auburn this weekend. I obviously also have them in the college football playoff. I have them in the runner-up in the SEC. And this is a big game that if for some reason they don't get to the SEC championship, that if they're fighting for that 11th or 12th spot, a head-to-head win over Baylor would be huge, just like it would be big for Baylor. You never know what's going to happen. It came down to last year. Those kind of matchups would matter. Baylor has the more experience returning 8 on offense, 5 on defense, including Sawyer Robinson. I don't know what it is about him. I just can't get behind him. I don't know why. I have no explanation. He just, he's bland to me, and which he shouldn't be because he is a very good mobile quarterback. He's a dual threat guy. He can do it all, but it's something about him that just doesn't connect with me. However, I believe this is the Jackson Arnold coming out party, and the guy that we all thought was going to be at Oklahoma and got the hype of taking over the Oklahoma job is going to be there. Cam Coleman, best wide receiver he's had, the guy who doesn't get talked about because of Ryan Williams down there in Alabama, and obviously Jeremiah Smith, but he had a all freshman SEC year, the 6'3" sophomore now. Had 37 receptions, 598 yards, 8 touchdowns last season. Pretty darn good year, but he just didn't do the Ryan Williams type numbers. And the one I absolutely love, and he was questionable, but according to Hugh Freeze, he is going to play, is the the transfer in of Eric Singleton. I think he is an absolutely huge part of this offense. If he was at Georgia Tech, I would absolutely love it. Unfortunately, he's not anymore. And I'm just glad to see him have a quarterback to take the next step and a system to take the next step. And I'll go on the bold statement to say that Coleman and Singleton are going to be the best 1-2 combination outside Ohio State. Let's get that straight. Outside Ohio State. but they will be the best 1-2 wide receiver combo, and both of them will go over 1,000 yards receiving this year.
So you're taking Auburn, I assume.
Oh, yes, I'm taking Auburn.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, you're wrong, and I'm going to tell you why you're wrong.
Okay, I'm listening.
I believe in Jackson Arnold. I believe he's going to take that step. I put Auburn into my college football playoff, right? But not this game. It's too early. He needs to show it before I'm going to fully trust him in this game. I need him to go out there and ball against this Baylor defense. And I know Baylor's going to be missing a player. Their star safety, I believe. He's going to be out, and that might give Arnold the chance to do something. But at the end of the day, the difference in this game to me is the quarterback. I'm going with the guy I trust. You called him bland. I don't think he's bland. He threw for over 3,000 yards last year. How's that bland? Come on, college quarterback. Like, what are we doing here? Like, you don't like him? He's going to show you. He's going to show you. Okay, you want to always prove it. He's going to show it to you against this Auburn team. Baylor is going to win this game. They are going to set themselves up for the Big 12 to win the Big 12, as I said last week. Auburn's going to lose, and next week I'm going to come on here and tell you were wrong. Baylor has so many offensive weapons. I don't know if this Auburn defense is going to be able to stop them. That is the big key. That's the big key for Auburn throughout the entire season. How is the defense going to hold up? Because they have a lot of talent on that end, right? But can they hold up throughout the entire season? I don't know yet. I believe they will, but in this week 1, I'm going with the better quarterback, in my opinion, to win a nail biter. I think this is going to be arguably the second best game of the weekend. And I know that's a bold statement with the amount of games going on and what's going on this weekend, but I believe this is going to come down to the last couple seconds, and Baylor is going to steal this win and set themselves up for the trajectory of what I said: Big 12 winner, college football playoff. Auburn will make it up with their SEC schedule, but Baylor needs this game more, in my opinion.
I'm gonna say I honestly threw it out there as well that I thought it could be an overtime type game. I do think it's going to be very close, and it's going to be what defense can make that play to make that big stop, get that big turnover, cause that quarterback to make that mistake. And as you mentioned, Baylor not having Carl Williams IV, their star safety, literally their star safety in the defense. Yeah. It's a big missing key when you're facing that type of wide receiver group.
Sawyer Robertson. I'm all in. You called him bland. I'm going to keep you to that the rest of the season. That is going to be. We're going to have a quote graphic. If every time he goes off, just bland or I don't know. We'll figure that out. But we're going to move on to the next game on our list, and that would be Alabama taking on Florida State. And when you look at this game, right? Alabama, of course, right? They're top 10 team. Florida State is the interesting one because they were so bad last year. And that's not even an understatement. They averaged 15 points a game. That's horrible for a program of this tier. They went, I believe, 2-10, but there is some hope. There's some hope for the Seminoles. There's hope. Maybe there's hope. They bring in Gus Malzahn to take over, right? They got transfer quarterback Thomas Castellanos from Boston College. Does he make a difference? Does he do anything for you in this game, or are the Crimson Tide just going to just roll over, basically, just kill them out in Florida State? What do you think?
I'm going to just sum it up as this. Castellanos opened his mouth, and he's going to pay for it. If anybody's been following the offseason, Thomas is basically just called out Alabama, basically saying they're going to win. It's not going to be a problem. They've handled stuff like this before. They're Florida State. Well, I get it's not Nick Saban's Alabama, but these kids are still Alabama-type players. They are big boys who are physical up front and will slap you in the mouth. I'm not kidding when I say this. I think Florida State is going to be lucky to score on Saturday.
So are you calling right now? Just clarify for me, listeners, everybody. We can clip this if we want. You do not believe that Florida State is going to get a single point against Alabama? Make your prediction.
I don't. I literally think it's going to be an absolute blowout to the point we're going to see old school type Alabama football. Yes, they're down a starting defensive lineman. They're down an offensive lineman, which is big. They're down their starting running back. However, the weapons are still there on the wide receiver core. And it's just, you don't poke the elephant. You don't. Just go in there, play them, and then get out. Like, it's plain and simple. Don't trash talk Alabama. It's just, it never works out. Ever. I don't ever remember it working out. Ever.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not the trash talk part, but you said this isn't Nick Saban. They're not as formidable. They're still very good. Don't get me wrong. I agree. I do believe Alabama wins this game, but I do think it's going to be closer than a lot of people think it's going to be. Alabama's going to win, but this is a prove it game for this Florida State team because Mike Norvell's job, it's on the line. We talked about this last week. If he were to beat the Crimson Tide, I don't really care what they do the rest of the season. They could lose every other game, and I'm giving him another chance because if you beat Alabama, you set yourself up, basically, in my opinion, at least. Unfortunately for him, I don't think it's going to happen, and I think he's going to fall a little short this year. And as we mentioned, he will likely get fired because it's just not up to par with the Seminoles.
The thing
And
I don't understand is what Castellanos was thinking.
But that's my point. Dude got benched at Boston College.
Correct.
So why are you talking?
I've seen this story before. Florida State brings in a quarterback who got benched for a better quarterback, and then they fall flat on their face on their offense. It just happened last year. Now, mind you, there's a little bit more talent when it comes to the weapons. Don't get me wrong, but I've seen this story before under Norvell. I hate to say it, like, if they get absolutely blown out, it wouldn't surprise me if he's fired. And I'll go as far as saying if Alabama loses this game, DeBoer needs to start packing up his room. You can't lose this game if you're Alabama.
No, not with everything going against Florida State heading into this game. But this game's going to be interesting because we get to see how Ty Simpson looks. Because I'm not saying Florida State is an all-elite defense, right? But, like, this is his first game with the Crimson Tide. Like, first, it's like the legit, you have the keys to the kingdom, basically. As we talked about, Alabama, being the quarterback of Alabama is difficult. And I'm curious to see kind of how he looks, how poised he is. Does he get kind of flustered if there's some struggles to at least begin the game, right? That's something I'm going to watch, basically, just to see how he handles the pressure of being the quarterback at Alabama. Because even if Alabama wins this game, and I don't think they're going to need him to, go off or anything like that. But I want to see how he sets himself up for the future because this game is going to set the tone for them going into their SEC schedule and everything going forward. So that's something I'm at least going to be watching, and we can talk about next week how he looked if we want, with all that. We're going to move on here. We both got Alabama, so that game isn't that was most people have Alabama. It's not the biggest thing ever here. If Florida State wins, credit to them, right? If they win, we'll come on here, we'll eat the crow, and go from there. I don't think it's going to happen, but we're going to move on to one of the more interesting games, which I believe, at least me, that's Utah and UCLA. I know you didn't like my UCLA take last week, and that's okay because you're going to be wrong this week once again. You're just going to be wrong a lot this whole season. You just accept your fate. But how do you see this game going? I mean, it's a big game for both teams. I know you're higher on Utah than I am, but where do you see this game kind of going?
I think the physicality of Utah is going to cause problems for UCLA, as it has done since they've joined the Pac-12. The last 7 times these two programs have matched up, Utah is 6-1 because they're a more physical team. They have 2 arguably top 10 tackles on their roster currently right now, which is insane to think about. I can't tell you the last time if that's ever happened. Their team leaders are Spencer and Logan Fano. Their team captains, they're brothers, one on the offensive side, one on the defensive side. My only question for Utah, literally all year, is going to just be how Devin Dampier adapts to playing in a Power 4 conference. That is my only question. And if you haven't seen the kid play, tune in.
Go watch his highlights.
That kid is must-watch television. 5'11", 204, had 12 passing touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Not great. Ran 19 rushing touchdowns for a total of 3,934 total yards. 2,000 plus in the air, 1,000 on the ground. He is the definition of dual threat. He is a sleeper for a Heisman type candidate if Utah can go on a run and win the Big 12. He's my only question. And I just think the physicality on paper of Utah will absolutely manhandle UCLA, and Nico's little homecoming is going to be ruined.
Little homecoming. Again, I really need the Bruins to win this game because, as I said last week, I'm a little higher on the Bruins than most people. Again, I don't believe they're going to contend for the college football playoff, but I do think that they can surprise some people. I believe I said 8 to 9 wins, I think.
Yeah.
Why is everyone sleeping on this team? Like, I understand that they struggled a little bit last year, right? But they ended the year really well. And now they got a quarterback. They got arguably one of the biggest transfers. What do you mean, do they? What do you mean, do they?
Nico's not good. Nico is not good. I don't understand the obsession with this.
How is he not good? Please tell me how he's not good. Please explain to me how he's not good. I'm generally curious how he is not good.
So his stats, when you look up his stats right now, from last year, most of his numbers came versus G5 teams. When you look up the 3 big games, the games that Nico needed to step up, Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State, he went 53% on his completion percentage for 465 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Now, mind you, yes, they did beat Alabama, but it wasn't because of him. He's just a mediocre quarterback. I don't see the first-round talent, and I'll go as far as saying that. I don't understand the obsession with him, and he can go prove me wrong, and I hope he does, because I don't ever want to be one of those haters on a kid. That's not what I want to be. But if you ask me right now, what quarterback I trust more on Saturday, it's Devin Dampier.
And I think that's fair in a way. I do, because both are coming, new system, right? But I love what Deshaun Foster is building. The culture of that team. If you listen to any of the players talk, they love the guy. And I know he struggled to begin last season. I think he was trying to find his footing. They had a bunch of issues with player. Like it was a mess at the beginning of last year for the Bruins. I believe that UCLA has a culture in place to become a powerhouse in the Big Ten. Because USC is screwing up. We talked about this last week. USC is screwing up. And I think recruits are going to look at that and be like, I don't know about that team. You had all this talent. You haven't been able to do anything. Lincoln, we talked about Lincoln Riley. I think UCLA may be able to land some big names going forward, especially with the way the transfer portal is. I mean, this game is going to help set them up. In one of the biggest
loss is going to help set them up.
Oh no, loss not going to. No, they're not going to lose.
Just
they're not going to lose. In one of the biggest upsets, I believe, of the weekend, the UCLA Bruins are going to silence the Utes. I don't believe they're going to shut them out, but UCLA is going to win this game.
Physicality, way too much.
I don't care about the
physicality.
I don't care about the
Utah by 2 scores.
2 scores. Okay, 2 scores. UCLA, and this is coming. Like I said last week, this is coming from somebody who grew up anti-UCLA. And it hurts me to be this high up on them, but the Bruins are going to win this game this week. And I am so excited for when they do.
I had to go back, by the way, because I didn't get a chance to post all my articles of my predictions because just ran out of time and poor planning on my part. I looked up my prediction for UCLA. I said at best 6-6.
At best. Well, once again, the common theme of this show is you're going to be wrong. I mean, I just feel like
it won't be the first time. It won't be the first time.
I feel like that just kind of needs to be our thing going forward. That Josh is going to be wrong. Like if you just listen to me, everything will be a little easier for everybody. But that's okay. I respect your opinion. I'll let UCLA prove it to you, just like Baylor's going to prove it to you. Okay. That's okay though. But enough of these games. We're going to get into the meat and bones of this weekend. These last 3 games are the core of the weekend. We're going to start out right here. Notre Dame, Miami. Game is on Sunday. Both of these teams have new quarterbacks. Notre Dame is coming off of the loss in the national championship. They lost their defensive coordinator. The quarterback, obviously, like I said, is gone. Where do they go from here? They have I feel like this is a pretty tough matchup to open the season because the Hurricanes aren't a bad team by any means. Yes, they have Carson Beck now, but this is a tough game for Notre Dame. Going on the road, all new pieces, they have to prove themselves, right? Like Notre Dame has to prove that they can be consistent, because the problem with Notre Dame is we've seen they might do something really well one year and then they completely falter. Who are you going with in this game? Because I'm curious who you're going with, and then I'll give mine.
So this is the game I've been torn, and I literally have been going back and forth all week trying to figure it out. And when I finally typed up the article that's going to come out tomorrow, my final decision was Miami. And I think the main reason was just because CJ Carr getting his first start versus that talented Miami defense. And then also the questions I have about Notre Dame's defense with Chris Ash running their defense now. Now, mind you, it's still going to be Freeman's system, and Freeman's going to get the most say and everything else. But that Notre Dame team did lose a lot of talent on both sides of the ball, a lot of leadership on both sides of the ball. And this is the first time that I can think of in at least 3 quarterbacks that they're starting basically a guy that is growing in their system. CJ Carr has a special place in my heart. As you can tell, I'm wearing a Michigan shirt right now. He's the grandson of the Carr family. But I just don't think it's a great matchup to start, as you said. But I also don't trust Carson Beck, so I wouldn't be surprised if Notre Dame goes out and wins. This game here is just who can prove it to me? Who can prove it to me and make me a little bit more of a believer? Because I don't believe in either one of the teams this year.
Yeah, I'm not the highest on either team either. That didn't sound right, but yes, you know what I mean. Beck has a lot of pressure because he has to kind of prove himself, after leaving Georgia, and now he's in this new system with the Hurricanes. He has to fill the shoes of a very strong quarterback from last year. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. Miami has a lot of new players and new system too, so it's not like it's just Notre Dame. I think if this game were later in the season, right, with when Beck and the whole team had a little more time to gel, have some chemistry, I think I'd be a little more like, you know what, I'm going to trust Miami. I don't think I'm going to go with them. I'm going with the Fighting Irish. I absolutely love what Marcus Freeman has built with this Notre Dame team. He has gotten Notre Dame to be relevant more than they've ever been relevant in the last however many years, right? Like under Brian Kelly, who we'll get to in a few minutes, they got to the playoffs a couple times. They didn't do anything. They always lost the big game, right? Notre Dame finally gets to the championship game last year. I think that's going to propel them a little bit. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that Notre Dame is going to go back to the championship game. We talked about our predictions last week. I didn't have them doing that. But they got the monkey off their back a little bit, right? Like they won the playoff game. They now can move forward knowing, hey, we can win this game. Granted, different group of players and whatnot, but still. I'm going with Notre Dame. They're going to want to prove that last year was not a fluke in a way. And I think they make a statement here. I think they beat Miami by 2 scores. I really do. I really like CJ Carr. I think he is going to maybe not replicate everything that Riley Leonard did, but he's going to be close. I can't go against Marcus Freeman. I can't. What he has done it's been so impressive the way he's gotten the players to rally around him and just buy in to everything. Notre Dame's going to win this game, and they're going to set themselves up to get back to the playoff, as I said last week.
Yeah, I have both these teams out of the playoffs, but if Notre Dame were to win this one, I do think I would lean more Notre Dame getting in because the schedule is a little bit friendlier the rest of the way. But like I said, just it being the first game, and I know Miami Stadium isn't home field advantage per se, and there's going to probably be a lot of Notre Dame fans down there.
There will be, yes.
We want to talk about a rivalry back in the 80s and 90s. If you haven't ever seen it, look up the ESPN 30 for 30,
Yep.
Catholics versus Convicts. Phenomenal documentary.
Phenomenal. Yep, 100%. I love it.
So that's I guess where my head is, but it won't surprise me if either one wins.
Yeah, and this is where we're kind of differing a little bit once again. So we'll have to see. I'm not as confident in this one as I am with the others, with UCLA and Baylor. So this one, I'm more. We'll see if we're both wrong.
I'm
Basically,
gonna say I do want to
right
say
there we go. Right there.
Andrew
Thank
Little
you.
said it perfectly.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Andrew. That is literally the way you took the words right out of our mouth. So
And
thank you for that.
that's a fair assessment.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Freeman has proven himself over time after time here. So I want to get into this other game because this one is where I have been a little torn, but not really at the same time. And that's Texas and Ohio State because this is the game I know a lot of people are circling on the calendar, right? You got two top 5 teams, the defending champions, right? It's just storybook start for both of these teams. Arch Manning gets to go prove himself in Columbus in his not first start, but you know what I mean? Like first real chance to be the guy at Texas. Where are you going with this? Because I talked about it last week. I think Ohio State's about to smack Texas. Where are you going with this?
So this is another one I've been going back and forth, and as the game has gotten closer, more I think Texas can pull it off. And I'm going to regret that statement about them missing the college football playoff, and they'll go on and win the national championship. And nobody's ever going to tune in again besides to rip me.
You know what? If we get enough people to come in here and just rip you for that, I'm fine. Good. All Texas fans, every single Texas Longhorn fan, please come in here and get on him for not putting you into the college football playoff, please.
But that being said, I'm still going to take the Buckeyes. I think that the home field advantage of that stadium, and don't get me wrong, I get Arch Manning. He's different. He's a Manning. He's got ice in his veins, everything that can be said. But it's more of what is going to be new on the Texas offense, and the experience coming back on the Ohio State defense. And by experience coming back, I mean the best player on the defensive side in college football in Caleb Downs. I think that Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs make enough plays to win this game one way or another. And I know a lot of people are going to pull up the box scores. I went and looked myself. I realized Jeremiah Smith got shut down by Texas in the playoff game because they were triple teaming him. Anytime he went out for a pass, they had everyone covering him. But Carnell Tate had a very good game. And my question when it comes to this situation is just asking you, because I went box score hunting and I went back and watched a little bit of the tape. Texas' 2 top wide receivers in that game were their running backs.
Yep.
Are they going to be able to do that again, or do they need a wide receiver to step up?
I think they need a wide receiver to step up. And this is, we got our guy Bill Sparks coming in here talking about Texas. Man, everyone's just going against me a little bit. You kind of picked Ohio. You did like a half Ohio State. So Ohio State fans, you just got both sides just going at you, apparently. Like, at least I got Ohio State fans on my side. But I think this game is going to come down to Manning, how he performs in this game. I am a firm believer of looking at how players react and how they play in tough environments, and that's how you learn how they are mentally, how they prepare. Right? This game to me is going to tell me everything I need to know about him. If he goes out there and plays well, even if they lose, if he plays well, I will have no doubts about Texas going forward. But if he goes out there and struggles, which I think could happen with that, just the environment, the pressure, everything going on him, I really believe Ohio State is about to smack them. And Texas fans may come for me. That's fine. I rooted for them against USC before I knew what USC was. So don't come at me from 2005. Vince Young was my guy. I had his Tennessee Titans jersey. Don't come for me too much. But I really do believe that Ohio State is about to make a statement here at home as the defending champions against this team who everyone's picking to win the national championship. There's a lot of people saying Texas is the favorite. They're going to win. Ohio State's going to shut all that down, at least for a week. And I really do think that the Buckeyes are going to win this game. And I don't think it's going to be particularly close.
And that's another understatement, as TJ Rogers mentioned.
Max
Clare, that is another weapon to this offense. They are absolutely loaded when it comes to this. And Peyton said it best. It's going to be what quarterback plays best.
Yep.
I saw it was like ESPN headlines that Ohio State basically told him, hey, you go out and win this game. Like, that's your responsibility. Go out and win this game.
I just want to point out, thank you for bringing up Anthony Hill, because I was about to do that. He has the ability to change this game. I believe that. So it's really going to be how he performs too. But when going back to the quarterbacks, like kind of what we were talking about, I think Sayan can do less and still win because of just the pure arsenal he has around him.
Yes.
He doesn't have to be, Superman in this game. He can just go out there, make throws, just don't turn the ball over, and you'll probably be okay. When on the flip side, Manning may not be able to do that. And I think that's what worries me, at least in this game for Manning. Now going forward, we'll see. But all the pressure right now, I believe, is on Manning. Just from my perspective. That's just
and Colton, it was the first head he wore, and it's the last head he wore.
Yeah.
There's no way he's not putting Brutus on.
Not in Columbus. If this game were anywhere else, maybe. But not. Yeah, I'm going.
I'll tell you what. I had some friends rip me, but there is a very good chance I'm shedding some tears when it's all said and done on Saturday, because it's just one of those things. Like, Corso is an absolute legend, but that will be for another time or place. Watch the documentary that ESPN just dropped, by the way. The closing finale will make you cry.
Yeah, no, and that's going to be an underrated emotional part of the weekend, is that Corso is going to be leaving college football, and he has to go out with Brutus. He has to. Like, if he doesn't, that would be hilarious just for purposes of watching. But
it would be very Corso. It would be very Corso if he throws Brutus. True. Can you imagine?
He just puts it on and then just throws it into the crowd. That would be pretty funny. But we have one more game to discuss here. Oh God! And this game,
you ready for this? You sure you're ready?
I'm a little triggered by this game, everybody. If anyone doesn't know, I am an LSU fan, LSU alumni. This game is going to give me This game's going to raise my blood pressure, and not in the fun way here with everything. So, LSU Clemson, Battle of Death Valley, which I don't believe is actually the Battle of Death Valley. Sorry, Clemson fans. This title was taken in 2020 when Joe Burrow kicked your ass. That's not debatable. I don't care what anyone says. LSU was the real Death Valley. You want to talk about it? You should have won the game in 2020. Whatever. Doesn't matter. I don't want to hear about it anymore. But 2 words come to mind in this game for me, and it has nothing to do with the players on the field. Do you know where I'm going with this?
I actually don't, so I'm interested to hear.
Brian Kelly. He's the only person I need to focus on in this game. The players are going to show up. I don't have any doubt about that. What is this man going to do in the crunch time if it gets to be close? What is this man going to do? Because he has not started off well at all at LSU. They haven't won a game in the season under this man. They should have probably won last year against USC, but they didn't. Then they had the debacles against Florida State. I don't even want to talk about that. We're not talking about that. Brian Kelly is going to determine this game. I don't care about anyone else. I don't care. I don't care about Nussmeier. I don't care about anyone else. I don't care about Dabo Swinney. I don't care about anyone, because Dabo Swinney has at least proven he can win a championship. Right? Oh, even if years ago, it doesn't matter. Brian Kelly is going to tell me everything I need to know about this season. If LSU loses this game, I'm not even going to bother caring about the rest of the season, because then I know Brian Kelly's not going to do anything, because I know we're not doing anything. They win this game. Cool. I'm in. You got me hooked, because you proved to me you can win the big game at LSU, because they haven't really been able to do that. I know they beat Alabama a couple years ago, but that's like really the only signature win that this man has. You were brought to LSU to win championships. You have not even made the playoff in the 3 years. You haven't even really been close to the playoff. You got, I believe, the first year they had a chance to make the playoff, and then they get stomped by Texas A&M in the final game of the year. When they don't get me started. I don't want to talk about that. That was not fun. But whoever wins this game solidifies themselves as the title contender we thought, and whoever loses, in my opinion, goes back to the drawing board. A lot of people see Clemson as a national championship contender. A lot of people are picking Clemson. It's in Clemson. That stadium's going to be rocking. And credit to these 2 teams for doing the home and home, because they're going to Baton Rouge next year, which I might be at that game. No, Just saying, might be at the game. Depending, I'll have to figure stuff out, but might be doing a little bachelor party out there. We'll see.
Nice.
Anyways, I'm not going to release who I'm going to pick just yet. I want to hear from you.
All right. So for me, the way I'm thinking is the complete opposite of Sparks. I'm going to go Klubnik over Nussmeier, but I think the most valid point that you made was I will trust Dabo Sweeney in a game like this before I trust Brian Kelly. Somehow, some way, it is going to come down to a crucial play, and Brian Kelly is going to piss down his leg. Plain and simple. We've seen it far too many times. I hope I'm wrong. Mind you, I hope I'm wrong. Because I'm one of those few Bearcat fans that don't fully hate Brian Kelly, because outside that playoff run to Bama, Brian Kelly was part of the best memories of UC football that I ever had. That being said, the way he went to Notre Dame, totally different story. But now at LSU, like you said, they brought this guy in. He has won everywhere he's gone. Mind you, never won a national championship, but he has still won everywhere he has gone, and he's far achieved what a lot of people thought he would do. This is the year he's got to do it, though. And this is
minimum the playoff. Minimum the playoff.
Yeah.
Minimum.
But what is your thoughts as an LSU fan on the experience difference? Clemson is returning 16 starters, 8 on offense, 8 on defense, an elite defensive line, the weapons who have experience with Klubnik. Meanwhile, your LSU Tigers, 4-4, one's Nussmeier. How quickly can they adapt to a Brian Kelly system that's not exactly easy to learn?
See, our guy Bill talks about this. 4 new starters on the O-line. That is what worries me about this game. Because as we know in just sports in general, but especially college football, if you don't, as the road team in a hostile environment like that, like it's going to be, right? If LSU starts slow, it's going to likely be a long night. And that's what I'm worried about. I think the experience factor is a big deal because Brian Kelly's system, as you said, is very difficult. But everything we're hearing out of Baton Rouge over the summer is that he's excited. This is the best offensive line he's had. This is the best team maybe he's had, right? Like this is what he's saying. And, you know, I've learned at this point not to fully trust what Brian Kelly says.
I was going to say, don't believe a word that man says.
Yeah, I've kind of learned this at this point. You know, like I followed him at Notre Dame, but now that he's with LSU, I started like grabbing onto every word he would say. Like, oh my God, he's hyping us up. Now I'm like, I don't care about what you say anymore, bro. So like, and that's kind of that's the sentiment of LSU fans. Like our guy Andrew says it's best. I think Nussmeier balls out. I think he is going to have a very strong season. He came back for the chance to win a championship, right? This game is so tough to pick because almost everybody is picking Clemson to win this game. There's a part of me that's like, maybe LSU can do it. Maybe this is when Brian Kelly is fully being counted out. Is he going to shock everybody? But then I also tell myself that might just be my optimism coming in. I think Clemson takes this game. Begrudgingly. I think Clemson wins this game on a last-second field goal to send their version of Death Valley into a pandemonium. I don't think Brian Kelly is going to make any mistakes in this game, but I do think whoever has the ball last wins the game. And I think Clemson is going to have the ball last because I think Nussmeier is going to drive down the field and tie the game. Clemson's going to get it with like a minute or something and some stupid nonsense that LSU always does, and then they're going to lose the game. And then we might get another fist bump from Brian Kelly in the press conference like we had last year. But I really don't know if I can fully trust Brian Kelly just yet. If he wins this game, I'm going to be the most annoying LSU fan ever. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad.
I'm not even dreading like Auburn losing or Utah losing. My fear, honestly, is LSU winning and just having to deal with you next week on this show.
I'm fully aware that LSU fans are wild and chaotic. And I'm part of it, right? Like I'm part of it, but don't let LSU get hot. That's all I'm gonna say.
I would agree. I would
Don't
agree.
let LSU get hot because I think Nussmeier is the real deal. It's just Brian Kelly. That's what I'm worried about.
And before we wrap things up, I do want to agree with you 100%. I am so happy this is a home and home, not being played in like Atlanta, Georgia, or anything like that. But I need this almost every single year. And can we just get like a Death Valley trophy? Like, how cool would that be? Like that'd be so cool.
We all know who the real Death Valley is. I want to hear.
I mean, we do, but I mean, still, come on. And
Here's
then
my thing. You want it. You want that title. You want that trophy. Why didn't you win in 2020? You had Trevor Lawrence. You had T. Higgins.
Yeah,
well,
they didn't have the two best wide receivers in the NFL.
They had a guy who had won championships. Leading up to that game, all Clemson fans were doing, "Oh, we're going to win. We're going to win. We're going to win." Joe Burrow can't do that. Okay, what happened on the field? Joe Burrow smoked them.
I mean, you're not wrong. And then one more thing I want to ask you, because I've been hearing a lot about him, is DJ Pickett, the 6'4" phenom cornerback that is at LSU. Do we think he's maybe not starts, but does he get a lot of playing time on Saturday and get some run, or do they kind of ease him into it? Because everything I've seen it says he's like stealing the show in practice.
So just knowing how Kelly operates, I feel like he'll get little flashes in the game. I don't know if he's going to put him in consistently. I think Kelly is very much, and you probably know this, he's very much of a you got to show me first. I'm not going to just throw you into the fire. Like you got to he doesn't want to ruin his confidence, right? So I think we're going to see him, but I don't think we're gonna see him consistently. I think as the year goes on, we'll see a little more. But also, here's the thing: if LSU is getting blown out, throw him in there. Who cares at that point? Why not? See what you got. But just knowing Kelly, he's not going to throw him directly. He's going to want as much experienced veteran. He's going to want the guys out there that can handle the pressure of being in that environment, in my opinion.
Yep. No argument.
So we're going to have to see. But we got a great slate of games coming up. Here are our picks for these 6 games. If anyone missed anything, you can go back and see why we picked these games. Go Bruins. I hate saying that, but they're going to win. They're going to prove you wrong. Anyway, the theme of this show, everybody, is Josh is wrong. He's going to be wrong, and we're going to call him out next week. But anyway, we want to thank everybody for tuning in here. Please like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, check out TWSN.net. We got all kinds of college football articles going on, all kinds of other content, right? Not just college football. We got everything going on over there. We have a great team doing everything. So, just make sure to support the channel. We're going to be here every single Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. There's not Pacific time, Eastern time. Sorry, I'm on the Pacific time. My time's getting messed up. 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. For all my West Coasters out there. But thank you, everybody. It's going to be a fun weekend of football. And don't forget to join the TWSN Pick 6 Pick'em. We will drop the link on our social media again. And we wish everybody a great weekend of college football. We are so excited, and we will be back next week on another edition of the TWSN Tailgate. So long. I am out.